Welcome. Let's get some sage. Let's get some sage. I've been having the sage lit before I started every time, but not today. We'll light it together. Now, last time we met up, we spoke about the feminine and the masculine and the sword and our magic, and how each twin is meeting up with their magical sword. And when the swords meet the cups, we're going to meet up on this bridge. We're going from Aquarius season to Pisces season. And this has to do with, we're going to go from a nightmare, feeling like we're living in a nightmare, and then it's going to feel like just miraculously like we're living in a dream. And this has to do with where we're at right now. It's like we're working, we know, with the 12th house, the zodiac's gutter ball, and our connection to the all, to everything. And this is like that. Remember, we're going to go really, really low, like doom and gloom, nightmarish energy, with really, really high, intense euphoria, bliss, all of my dreams coming true. And we're gonna meet through the center point, and with what's really, really low and what's really, really high, and we're gonna expand through the center point. And this has to do with each twin meeting up with that sword. And we know that the feminine is going really low. So the masculine can go really high. And we remember the feminine has masculine within, and masculine has feminine within. And that we're all doing this together. And the feminine is not going to be angry with the masculine if she's gone really low, so he can go really high. This is part of the gift of this expansion. This is the equation needed. We need this contrast. Look, we need this contrast. We need to feel what's really low, doom and gloom, nightmarish. We need to feel this. We need this contrast, because this is going to allow us the new patterning that we're putting in play with our subconscious mind to build our dreams. Now, we've been speaking a lot about the feminine. Today, I actually thought we would be sitting here talking about how we're going to turn pain into pleasure, because I am receiving so many downloads. So much information is coming in. Like, I literally thought I was going to be working on a vision I was shown. Then I was shown another vision. Then I was shown another vision after that. And I'm just learning. I'm just going to keep working with spirit and share the messages that I'm called to share when I'm called to share them, because this is co-creation with the divine. And that's, we were talking about last time we met up, is the fact that we're learning how to be co-creators. And this new vision that I just had has to do with, we have to heal from what it means to be a co-creator here. We need to have the experiences in order to co-create. So we need to make mistakes also too in order to co-create, and stop condemning ourselves for our mistakes. Stop living as our mistakes. We're co-creators. There's a forgiveness and a healing here, and allowing people to expand, allowing the expansions, allowing the change. I don't want to get sidetracked, because today I've been called to talk about the masculine. So we've been talking about how the feminine, the masculine's been in, he stayed asleep, but the feminine used separation and her energy to walk away from the masculine, because she was being called by the feminine to co-create a deeper connection to unconditional love, and working with our counterparts here on mission work to analyze what was toxic, what's gone toxic between the connection that needed a restart. And it has to do, she's analyzing the 10 of Cups through the connection of the 2. This is a deeper level of connection between the feminine and masculine. And this has to do with Remember, we are using the 12th house, the zodiac's gutter ball, all of it to create our 10 of cups. And this is mission work. This is healing with it. This is not, we're not going to look in that space because I'm afraid over here. Oh, I know I need to look over there, but I'm not going to look over there because I'm afraid. I don't want to face the truth. I want to stay stuck in my illusions because I feel safe. This isn't about feeling safe. We're not feeling safe anymore. We're creating safe. We're creating happiness. We're creating where we're going. So, and when we're escaping, we don't want to escape anymore. That's the message coming through. It's like we don't want to escape anymore. We are ready to go home. And home is where the heart is. We know when the swords meet the cups, night turns to day, and we meet up in the bridge of the land of in-between that we are working on building. So what this has to do with, now we're going to talk about the masculine. Well, the feminine was looking up at the moon with creation. We know the masculine is deep asleep within. And what the masculine is tired. The masculine's been tired. And we did talk about on our last reading how the masculine's working on switching cups. The masculine is having a recalibration with spirit and the divine. And that's because they've been clearing obstacles from within. And this has to do, it's the refusal of the call. And it's been the refusal of the call to work solely with this cup. And this is being able to work with the divine feminine with this cup, right? And the cosmic womb of creation. So, you know, the mother is the water. And what the masculine is doing is having a recalibration with the feminine. Remember, we're having a recalibration with those two cups. The masculine's analyzing the 10 of cups and the 2 of cups as well. And this is where we're going to repair the veil. This is where, actually, let me get the right card. This is where we're going to repair the veil. And the masculine's no longer going to be lost in the direction. This has to do with integrity. Patterns of integrity are being activated here with this recalibration to spirit and the divine from within to without. That's what's happening here with the masculine. From within to without. This is big. This isn't without to within. This is within to without. And this has to do with, we know, a new beginning. Because remember, the moon, we got this activation. We were trying to figure out what got activated here with the moon. We got this card for this activation. A new beginning. That's what's being activated. A new beginning between the feminine and masculine. And it has to do to diving deep into a task because we're going home. We're going home. Remember, home is where the heart is, and it has to do with compassion. But what we're doing is we're literally healing our focused energy. This has to do with focusing our energy. Where is it going? Laser focusing our energy. Where is it going? We're going to laser focus our energy for this transformation. This is a laser focus with thought and then acting on it, okay, with force. So a thought in the mind, and these thoughts are authentic, they're clear, they're connected to the divine. But remember, we had much contrast in order to have this clarity. This is that nightmare energy, so we could see very clearly everything that needed to be seen in order to create anew. My counter just said 10, 11. Now, this has to do with forgiveness. A forgiveness is happening here between each counterpart. A forgiveness. And this forgiveness is connected to our paths and our experiences that we had as we are saying goodbye to how the devil has been siphoning our energy at a whole new level to walk towards this deeper connection of unconditional love between the twins. And it has to do with our pleasure centers and the Six of Cups. And our pleasure centers being taken out of balance by this artificial hack of this artificial matrix, because we're seeking pleasure because we're in pain. But the gift of this transformation is we're going to learn how to turn our pain into pleasure and bring it back to God, bring it back to the divine, untwist it. And we're going to get into that next time we meet up. I want to stay laser focused on what is happening here, and I don't want to lose cards this time because there's so many cards on the table. I want to make sure we have the right cards here. So what is happening is we're moving forward from paying off our karmic debts. And remember, we've accessed our sword. We've accessed our magic. Each twin is meeting up with their sword. And their sword is connected to their magic. But it's healing our insecurities with our confidence. This has to do with belief. And belief is connected to unconditional love. So we're paying off our life's debts by literally, with justice, we're balancing our karmic scales. We're seeing very clearly what we need to see with this contrast. This is the contrast. I'm going to pay off my life's debts and balance my karmic scales. I'm going to go from the south node to the north node. Now, I forget what the south node is in this deck. I have to look. But we're going to expand our consciousness here. And we're going to have a reunification. Remember, the feminine and masculine are going to have a reunification. This has to do with the Two of Cups and the Eight of Cups. But it's the Three of Cups because we're having a reunification with spirit. Each counterpart with their cup. And a recalibration with spirit and working with the divine to expand consciousness. And we know we're doing this by going within and facing our fears. And this is where we elevate with the energy by creating happiness from sadness. And it's because the masculine lets go of this cup. And then masculine works with the right cup. This is where we expand from the lower chakras. And this is going to allow us to transform, reweave, and reactivate with our rebirth and a rebalance. Now this is big. We have to have this rebirth with our inner child. We also got all these cards together. All the cards on this table are channel messages we've gotten with channel messages to all come together. So there's a rebirth here with the inner child. And that's why we're going so deep within. Into me, I see. Remember, into me, I see because I wished upon a star. And this gift is connected to the inner child. And that's how we're going to have a rebirth. So into me, I see. I'm seeing a connection to my inner child and expanding love. This is where the rebirth happens. Transformation, reweaving, and reactivation. And this is where we expand right here with these 2 cups. We have the Empress, the Sun, and this is the creation of happiness. We're creating happiness by what's being mirrored back to us. So we're being mirrored, our fears, our deception and our fears are being mirrored back to us so we can continue to create this high vibe love in this connection of the 2 of Cups. And what's going to happen is when the swords meet the cups, we're going to speak our truths. We're going to find our way. Remember, because we have access to our magic, our clarity, and then our recalibration with our cups and with spirit. And it's connected to this message. I have no idea what this message is, but we're going to share it right now. Overflow. Too much, overwhelm, and plenty. So many good things are headed your way. Are already occurring in your life right now. You may be thinking that they're not possible or you're not worthy of them. Abundance is everyone's natural state before we project our restrictions on it. Defining what it means, who has it, who gets it, and so forth. Right now, take yourself out of your conditioning and look at your life through the eyes of plenty. There is so much beauty in love. Opportunities and divine synchronicities are destined to support your dreams, abound, and are lined up for you. Yet it's sometimes difficult to discern it all because you're bombarded with too much information and stimulation distracting you from the truth that all is well. So look, this is why we're going within. We have to go within, we have to go within because we have to heal from stimulation, and that's how we're going to heal from our pleasure centers being out of whack. Because our pleasure centers are out of whack, we're over seeking stimulation to feel some sort of way. But when we take that out of balance, we need more and more to stimulate those pleasure centers. And then, we take them so far and then we experience depression. We experience the exact opposite of what we're trying to experience, and it's not real. And we have to heal with our solar plexus at that point because we're not finding our personal power within. We're seeking out external stimuli. And it's so interesting. I was like, how does this card fit in? And I wasn't called to share the message till right now, because sometimes I'm called to share it before we sit here. This time I was called not to share it till this moment in time. So sometimes all this overflow can be overwhelming, and you may find yourself responding with empathy overload. Empathy overload occurs when you tune into the collective angst and fear about impending changes and uncertainties. It's unimaginable. You feel like you're drowning in those emotions. It's time to allow yourself to detach, bring yourself back to your life, restore your faith and power greater than you, and remind yourself to focus on your smaller personal universe, which is much easier to manage. So we're being called to focus on our much smaller universe. In this way, you know that you are a conduit for life's blessings and can share them with others, making this perception of overflow profoundly positive. Now, this has to do, remember, with the 3 of Cups and this reunification. When we meet up, and remember, we have to change how we're thinking to meet up. All right, guys, I'm going to expand off this in part 2. I'm going to let my dog finish having his drink so we can quiet things down and get back, because like moss to a flame, I'm telling you, since we sat here, it's just the way it goes. I'm learning how to heal from what triggers us, because it's all love. This is all love. It's all love. So I'm going to read to center myself and be right back. Part 2. See you there.